Yeah, thanks, Janice. Good evening to all. On behalf of Monarch Network, we welcome you all for Karnataka Bank's Q4 FY20 and the full year FY20 results. To discuss with us about the results and the future outlook, we have the entire of the management team of Karnataka Bank, starting first with Mr. Mahabaleshwara MS, MD and CEO, Mr. Balchandran YV, the COO, Mr. Muralidhar Krishna Rao, the CFO, Gopal Das Pai, the CBO, and other senior management team. Without taking much of your time, I would hand over the call to the MD sir for his opening comments, post which we could start the session for Q&A. Thank you, and over to you, sir, please.
Yeah. Good evening and welcome to all of you. Before starting management commentary on Q4 FY20 earnings, I sincerely hope that all of you are hale and healthy, despite COVID-19 pandemic-related health concerns which we are feeling across India and also across globe. Nevertheless, this is the time wherein all of us must take care of ourselves, look after the family, and of course our dearest and nearest, as you all know that we are all passing through this world only once. Friends, yesterday I had sent a detailed email communication to all the registered email IDs of our shareholders, not only highlighting the current year performance, but also for the last 1 decade. Many of you as shareholders, I believe, have gone through the same. I'm getting good response from shareholders as they were able to know all the important facts about the bank at one go. All along we had a tradition of having analysts and investors con call for quarterly results and analysts and investors conference for annual result at Mumbai. This is being practiced since the last 5 years. Of course, this was started by my predecessor, Mr. Jairam Bhatt. In fact, 2014-15, for the year 2014-15, our board meeting, that is the result-related board meeting, was held on 22nd of May 2015, and we had analyst meet at Mumbai on 25th of May. Similarly, for the second year, that is 2015-16, our result board meeting was on 20th May, and our analyst meet at Mumbai was held on 24th of May. And 2016-17, the board meeting was on 13th of May, and we had our analyst meet at Mumbai on 15th of May. And for the year 2017-18, board result meeting was held on 15th of May, and we were happy to have the analyst meet on the very next day, that is on 16th of May. Last year, that is 2018-19, the board result meeting was on 13th of May, and we had the analyst meet held at Mumbai on 15th of May. However, during the current year, because of the special situation caused by COVID-19, today we are having a con call instead of the traditional conference at Mumbai. Nevertheless, dissemination of the information and having a close interaction with you all, that is most important for me, and I am sure it will serve the purpose. Further, you might have observed that all along we were declaring our annual results during second or third week of May itself. This year, even though we had planned like that, on account of COVID-19 pandemic, the statutory auditors had a lot of logistic problems, especially in Mumbai. And in spite of that, we could able to declare the result during first week of June itself, even though, as you all know, SEBI had extended the due date up to 30th June 2020. Fag end of Q4 FY20 and the first 2 months of the current financial year 2021 has all the indications that the entire economic sector and more so the banking sector is entering into an era of uncertainties. Hence, it makes sense to be cautious as well as conservative to protect the bottom lines. For us in Karnataka Bank, conserve and consolidate is our guiding principle for the current financial year, because it is now almost certain that year 2021 will not be a normal year. Hence, keeping this in mind, today morning, while interacting with CNBC TV 18 anchor, I had just recollected the old adage saying that top line is vanity and bottom line is sanity. I am sure all of you will ponder over this particular adage. Friends, as far as Q4 earnings are concerned, detailed analysis is already uploaded in our website, and let me now briefly touch upon the same. You might have seen a 20.76% growth in the operating profit during the Q4 of FY20. That means the operating profit went up from 324.23 crores to 391.54 crores. Similarly, on year-on-year basis, there is a growth of 14.27%. Interest income went up by 7.05%, and NII, which all along which used to be in the single digits, has now crossed the double digit. It is now at 10.07%. Other income, we could have a robust growth of 51.54%, which was supported by a solid trading profit of 155.74 crores vis-a-vis 43.20 crores. Nevertheless, in the fee-based income, a moderate quarterly growth of 15.05% and an annual growth of 18.72% is recorded. Thus, the total income had a growth of 14.14%, whereas total expenditure grew at 12.71%. In the operating expenses, the establishment expenses, that is salary, has grown at a rate of 16.44%. Of course, this is after making full provision for the salary as per the IBA wage revision. So there was 15% additional offer, and we have provided fully. But the superannuation benefit went up by 6.5 times. Superannuation benefits for the pensioners as well as the gratuity and leave encashment and all such things. So last year it was just 25.46 crores, and this year it is 163.19 crores. And you all know that this is market yield driven, that provision that we need to make. But however, in the expenses, the other expenses, the last year it was 243.79 crores during this quarter, and it has come down to 207.69 crores. So our other expenses we have been able to contain. Not only containing, we have also been able to reduce it by about 14.81%. So that is what we had been planning, and we could achieve during the last quarter of the last financial year. NIM has almost remained at the same, 2.87% last quarter, current year 2.86. ROA has taken a beat from 0.32 to 0.13, but for the year ended it is 0.53%. ROE for the year ended 7.35%. For the last quarter it was just 1.81. There has been some good traction as far as gross NPA is concerned. It now stands at 2,799.93. So last quarter, that means December 2019, it was at 4.99%. Now it has improved to 4.82%. But last March 2019, it was at 4.41%. Similarly, the net NPA, December 2019, it was at 3.75. Now it improved to 3.08%, whereas last year, that is March 2019, it was at 2.95%. NPA gross slippage is at 304 crores versus 402 crores. That means the corresponding last year. Whereas the reduction is reduction and upgradation recovery all put together 281.60 crores versus 292.09 crores. So as a result, my slippage ratio now stands at 0.57% for the current quarter, vis-a-vis 0.80%. But for the full year, it stands at 3.75%. And NPA provision during the current year, it has gone up substantially on account of good operating profit. We thought that this is the right time to provide adequately so as to improve the PCR also. So keeping that in mind, we have proactively made certain provisions. So that is the reason why this has shown a 31.31% increase from 216.74 crores last year to 284.78 crores. As a result, credit cost during the current quarter has slightly gone up from 0.40 to 0.50. But however, for the full year, it stood at 1.95%. Provision coverage ratio was one thing since last 2 years we have been focusing on. So our provision coverage ratio, which was at 58.45% as of March 2019, has now significantly gone up to 64.70% as of March 2020. Cost to income ratio, there is a growth, increase from 57.97% to 59.62%. Of course, this is mainly on account of the superannuation related benefits. And the capital adequacy ratio is now at 12.66%. It was at 13.17% about a year ago. SMA2, there is some positive traction. It was at 168.41 crores about a year back. Now it is in double digits at 23.65 crores. And recovery in return of accounts has also shown some positive traction. Last quarter, we had 16.60 crores recovery from the return of account. This year, it is at 59.61 crores. For the full year, it is 95.82 crores versus last year's 51.18 crores. Turnover business has grown at a rate of 4.44% only, and our present business turnover stands at 1,28,749 crores. Deposits grew at 4.87%, whereas the advances growth, if you see, it is muted at 3.90%. Here, I have to just submit that all along we have been highlighting that we would focus more on the retail and mid-corporates and not that much on the corporates. My retail advances, which was at 42.85% as of March 2019, has gone up to 45.49% as of March 20. And the mid-corporate advances, that means 5 crores to 100 crores, which was at 26.85%, had now gone up to 28.71%. Similarly, the corporate advances, that is more than 100 crores, which was at 30.30%, has now declined to 25.80%. So this being the case, during the current year, on account of this position, we could register a comfortable 11.07% yield year-on-year growth in the retail sector and 11.14% growth in the mid-corporate sector and a degrowth of around 8.87% in the corporate sector. So when you look at the credit growth from this angle, then the fundamental changes and the realignment, whatever that we have made, that would be crystal clear for all of us. Similarly, our CD ratio is now at 79.35%. Last year it was at 80.10%. And the CASA, the overall percentage, it is now at 28.91%, vis-a-vis 28.06% about a year back. And there is some positive traction as far as the yield on advances, which was at 9.26% about a year back, now has slightly improved to 9.41%. Cost of deposit, which was at 5.97% about a year back, further declined to 5.88%. So as a result, interest spread, which was at 3.29%, has slightly improved to 3.54% during this Q4 of FY20. Our restructured advances has also come down from 872.16 crores about a year back to 536.49 crores. Now, the most important thing is all of you would be interested in knowing the moratorium book. So, in this, about 34.67% of our customers, this is by number, they have opted for the moratorium, and by value, that is by amount, it amounts to 46.62%. So another 54% of that is majority of the customers, that is around 54% of the customers by value, they have not yet, opted for the moratorium, even though bank had extended moratorium facility as per Reserve Bank of India guidelines to all the eligible customers. So this is the position of the moratorium related things. And our transformation initiative, KBL Vikas, this is progressing well as per our expectation. So digital journey for MSME loans, for the especially working capital sanctions, that is launched very recently. Our MSME term loans, it is in this digital journey is in the final stage, which is being taken care of through our Digital Center of Excellence, Bengaluru. Other digital journeys like home loans, car loans, personal loan, everything is stabilized. And now we have a very clear-cut roadmap of 100% coverage under these sectors, new sanctions. Similarly, we have already, on the pilot basis, tested SB account tab banking. So this we are going to roll out all India very shortly. My performance management system is now stabilized, PMS. LMS also stabilized, that is the lead management system. And very shortly, as we have already received the final permission for the subsidiary, Karnataka Bank's wholly owned non-financial subsidiary, that is we have named it as KBL Services Limited. We are going to launch it during the current financial year. As far as the outlook for the current financial year is concerned, we are not that optimistic because of the pessimistic surrounding. So you might have noticed that, as I said, in every sector, barring a few areas, this type of uncertainty is there. So then we may have to adopt wait and watch situation, but for extending the relief measures as well as focusing on the MSME relief package and all such things. So most probably we may get about 8 to 9% credit growth during the current year. But I feel that this is too early to make any comments on the growth prospects, because we had a very lengthy discussion in our recently held board also. So we will be keenly watching, and accordingly we will be revising our strategies also. Nevertheless, we will be focusing more on retail and mid-corporates and CASA, trading profit, as well as recovery and NPA management and our third-party products. And digital sanctions, yes, we will be taking it forward, and I propose to cover almost all my retail portfolio under this digital journey. And overall efficiency enhancement and some improvement in our control measures. That is what we are now focusing. And as I said, this is the year wherein we all have to focus more on conserving the capital and also curtailing the cost. So this has engaged the attention of not only the top management, even my board also. So we will be focusing more on these aspects. So that with that background, I said that we will be focusing more on the bottom line, and so that conserve, consolidate, and emerge stronger. That is the business mantra for your Karnataka Bank for the current year. This is all what I just wanted to share with you. So now, any questions from your side? Definitely we will try our level best to address those issues.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We take the first question from the line of Kishan Gupta from CD Research. Please go ahead.
evening. Dhagash this side. So my first question is on the provision side. So this 1135 crores of provision, where is this going, sir?
Breakup. Yeah, you have the breakup. I'll give you the breakup. One second, just hold on.
Sure.
Hold on. Provision for depreciation on investment, 28 point, there is write back of 1.95 crore. Provision for security receipt, there is a write back of 3.04 crores. Provision towards NPA, 1,108.22 crores. Provisions towards standard assets, 35.17 crores. So other provisions is around 5.84 and provision towards taxes under 90.25.
Okay, but sir, if you see the difference between gross and net NPA between FY20 and 19, the difference has just jumped by 205 crores. So, I don't understand where this 1108 crores which you said for NPA, where is that going? Because it's not reflecting in the NPA figure.
No, see, I think there is a technical other write-off of around for the full year, 147 crores other write-off is there. So last year it was around 93 crores. So this year 147.19 crores. During this current quarter, 16.61 crores. Write-offs also.
Okay, but so this 1100...
Other technical write-off is also there. Last year 806 crores. This year 943 crores.
Other technical write-off?
Yeah. Technical write-off is 943 crores.
So where is this reflected, say, in the financial statements, this 943 and 1108?
Write-off will not get reflected there. If you want, we can give the movement of the provisions, we can give you.
Sorry, sir, you can give us the?
Movement of provisions, we can give you the movement of provisions.
See,
yes,
yeah, 1 second. I will also give the movement of the NPA as well as the provisions. See, closing NPA, that is opening NPA for the current year was 2,799. Technical write-off, what is this? No. That details we will share. 1 minute. It is not correct. Yeah. Movement provision for NPA opening balance is previous. Current year is 810. Provision made during the year is 1,297. Write-off and write-back of excess provision is 1,093. Closing balance is 1,017.31 crores.
Schedule 18.
It is in Schedule 18. That will be shared subsequently.
Okay. So you're saying, sir, that provision for NPA this year has been created 1,200 crores?
Yeah. 1,297 is the provision made during the year.
Okay. And have there been any deductions? Because this figure has jumped from 2,456 to 2,800.
Yeah, opening balance was 810 crores.
810?
10 crores.
Okay.
Provision made during the year 1,297.
Okay.
Provision utilized for write-off is 1,091.
Okay.
Closing balance is 1,017.
Okay. But the net and gross figures, they don't match with the closing balance which you gave me.
No, out of the 1,297 crores, 189 crore is debited to the reserves.
Okay.
And balance is debited to the profit and loss account.
Okay. All right. And sir, how much principal repayment is due this year, FY21?
Repayment? Which repayment?
Principal repayment.
Okay, that is the current year's due.
Yes, sir.
Due may be in the range of around, on an average, 500 crores per month. Yeah. Current year may be in the range of, on an average, the repayment is in the range of around 6,000 to 7,000 crores. Correct, no? Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the correct figure, but going by the past track record, it is in the range of around 500 crores per month. So for the full year, it could be in the range of around 6,000 to 7,000 crores.
All right. And so why is the moratorium so high? Because we checked for SBI, it's 21%, and overall RBI releases the press release. So they said overall 39% of assets are under moratorium. So why are our moratorium rates near 47, 48%?
I don't think it is on the high. There are so many banks which are still in the process of extending the moratorium. There is some banks, good banks, who are even at 71%, 60% and all. As I said, we have extended this benefit to all. So of that, around 46% they have opted for the moratorium as of now. This number, I don't know whether it will stand at that level. It may still go up as this pandemic advances. So by month on month, I think this may still go up. We have time up to August end. Yeah, August 31st August end. That time is there. So as of now, this is the position. But yeah.
Okay. So you're saying, sir, what levels do you think it can go up to? 60-70%?
That we are not able to tell. Maximum is 100%. Because, it is our responsibility to extend the benefit to all. That is the spirit of RBI circular. So keeping that in mind, we have extended it. But in some of the cases, hardly there is moratorium availed. Say, for example, if you look at my NBFC book, only about 10% by value and about less than 5% by number, they had availed the moratorium so far. So from each sector, it varies. Let us see. We are keeping a very close watch on that. In fact, agriculture sector, as of 31st May, only 19% of the customers value is around 39.98%. They only had availed. So in each sector wise, it is varying. So we are keeping a close watch on that. Hello. Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We take the next question from the line of Amit Rani from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So what is what's our SMA2 number and risk-weighted assets number in amount?
SMA2 is 23.65 crores as of March 2020, and in March 2019, for the year ended March 2019, it was at 168.41 crores. And risk-weighted assets, yeah, risk-weighted
52708. 52708. Correct.
51. Yeah, total risk-weighted assets is 52,708 crores.
Okay. And sir, any reason for such improvement in the SMA2 number on a YOY basis?
SMA2 number, because of the good recovery and also close follow-up. And as I said, we have shed certain assets, corporate advances. And as a result, now whatever the book that we have is showing some good quality. In our website also, we have disclosed all the externally rated borrowers. There you could see that in that entire portfolio of consisting of these externally rated borrowers, none of the accounts are in SMA2. That is also one of the main reasons.
Right. And sir, this rating that you have disclosed is as on what date?
Which rating? That is the latest available rating. Latest available rating.
So as in March end it must be.
Not necessarily be March end.
Depending upon the...
Yeah, because this is an ongoing. Whatever that, if they had been updated today, we will take that. That's the latest available rating.
Okay. And sir, have we done any internal analysis of the moratorium book that we have in terms of in a higher risky segment?
1 minute. In this externally rated advances, there is one account under SMA2 with an exposure of 10 crores. So I was referring to some other side. One account with an SMA2 10 crores. Yeah. What is your question?
So my question is, have you done any internal analysis of the moratorium book of this 47% by value? Any accounts which are identified as highly risky, which are more likely to slip into NPA?
That type of analysis we have just started, and we are now first interacting with the respective customers, and now we are fully involved and engaged in extending the government-related relief packages, especially to the MSME accounts. That is the priority for the banking sector. So there, once the economy revival happens through the MSME, and then, of course, we will be able to gauge the impact of the moratorium. The main intention is to revive the economy. So that is the intention of the regulator, and we are all with them. But nevertheless, as I said, whether it would have any short-term or the long-term impact on the bottom line, that we have to very keenly watch, and that exercise thereafter we will take up.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Lalit Garg from Global Services. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Hi, Lalit.
Hi. My question is about the additional capital that we were planning to raise, and looking at the current market condition about the share price and also the growth in the top line, are we going to defer this capital raising for some time, or what's the plan?
For that only I am banking on you. See, what happened that there is no question of deferring or shelving. This particular, the special resolution which we had from the shareholders somewhere in the month of March 2020, this is valid for 1 year. So we have that 1 year rule. So during this period, once the right price that we are convinced, yes, we can go ahead, at that time we will go ahead. Secondly, as I said, this CAR is presently at 12.66% as against the RBI stipulated minimum of 10.875%. So internally we have a policy of having at least 1% over and above the RBI regulators stipulation. So I am still more than around 2% above the regulatory stipulation. So for the time being, there is no dearth for capital. But nevertheless, going forward, we thought that we should go for this. So we will be taking this issue at appropriate time.
Oh, thank you, sir. As a shareholder, I would really prefer if this is deferred for some time. But of course, the board has the call. Sir, my second question.
Yeah.
Sir, it's more on the academic line. I wanted to understand, we have debited 189 crores to the reserve for these fraud cases instead of taking it directly to the P&L. My question was, if this amount was taken as a technical write-off, we would have got less deferred tax assets. Is that the right way to see it?
No. What happens here is that whatever technical write-off tax benefit you are getting is 1/3 of that.
Yes, sir.
So our profit tax liability would have come down by 60 crores, but our profit and loss account would have been down by 130 crores.
Yes, sir.
So now what happens is that deferment is actually given, regulator has given the benefit So it will be
Yes,
it will get amortized over the next 3 quarters.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, whatever that you said is the right CA brain. But there is another point also. You see that during the current year, just for academic interest only, I am highlighting this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, superannuation benefit for the full year, we had 211 crores. Whereas last year, it was just 3.61 crores. Now you take it into the profit, then you realize what would have been our profit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
These are all
I
there.
was just
See, in one area we may get, in another area it may balance out. So eventually our intention is to quarter by quarter or year by year, we should keep on strengthening the balance sheet. That is the main motto of the bank. So that is what we have said. So that means this year, if you look at the COVID-19 provision also. So even though there was a regulatory provision for us to absorb only 5% and amortize the another 5% for the next quarter, that is the June quarter, upfront we have absorbed the entire 10%. So wherever that type of things is there, we have done it.
Okay, sir. So thanks a lot.
That was taken, Lalit.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Bansi Chawla from IDBI Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I was just referring to the results. In the result section on the notes under accounts, statement number 6, it says under other matters, it says we have not audited the balance sheet of approximately 58% of advances and 78% of deposits. So can we say these results are not audited, or I am missing something else? Can you share your thought on that, sir?
Central auditor. It is central auditor.
You missed it.
Audit report.
Yes.
In our bank, all the officers, whether the branch office as well as the back office, 100% of them are audited. Now here we have a central auditors, 2 central auditors, and we have also designated branch auditors. So they have done 100% of the audit. Whereas the central auditors, what is the audit that generally they do, that is also disclosed. That's all. 100% of the books are audited.
Okay.
That is why it got delayed. Otherwise, we would have come out with the result somewhere in the second week of May itself. So this, because of the logistic problems our auditors faced, so we had to slightly delay it. But nevertheless, it has not prolonged up to the June end.
Okay.
At the earliest occasion, we had declared the result.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification. And sir, sorry if I am repeated, if you can share the total fraud accounts which you have declared, 4 fraud accounts, amount outstanding as well as the provision against that, and as well as if possible, if you can name all these 4 accounts.
Yeah. 4 accounts, it is already disclosed to the stock exchange. One is, of course, Dewan Housing Finance. All these 4 accounts are the consortium accounts. We are not the sole banker. And Dewan Housing, my exposure is 180.13 crores. Then Religare Finvest is 43.44 crores. Leel Electricals, we have an exposure of 20.65 crores. These are the 3 accounts. And in another account, Feders Electrical and Engineering Limited, 41.30 crores. But there we had full provision. So there was no need for additional provision. All these 4 accounts, these are the consortium advances, wherein we were members with the minority share, less than 1%. And what happened is, since either the consortium leader or many other banks in the consortium forum, based on either the forensic audit report or any other issues, they had treated it as NPA because they observed that there is diversion of fund. But in our books, we have not observed any such things. But since we have to follow the spirit of the consortium, we took an proactive stand to fall in line with the consortium, the decision what is being taken. And accordingly, once we declare it as a fraud, then next important thing is the provision. So yes, we have taken up that process.
So how much total as a percentage provisioning has been done against these accounts?
25%
Around
has been
25%
done.
that is already done. Remaining 75% is charged to the reserve. See, fully provided, but by charging to the reserve, which has to be reversed subsequently on quarterly basis in the remaining 3 quarters.
Oh,
So
okay.
it may come to around 60 crores per quarter.
Yeah, 60.
Yeah, 60 crores per quarter for the next 3 quarters. Since ours is a going concern, so this type of accounting is practiced.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
These accounts, they have been with us for the last 2009, 2014, like that. So it is very unfortunate that in spite of the consortium arrangement, it happened.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Parthiv from NVS. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, sir. So I just wanted to continue on the previous participant's question on that matter for...
I didn't get your name, please.
Parthiv.
Parthiv, okay. Yeah.
So I just wanted to continue on the previous participant's question on the auditor's matter. Can you just elaborate it, because you said apparently that all the branches are being audited, but in the note it's still being clearly mentioned that 824 branches with 53% of the advances. So why the note has been inserted in the financial statement by your bank, and such kind of things are not visible, or we cannot find across any other banks? Just wanted to have an elaborate understanding on the matter.
Yeah. In some of the banks, there is a practice where statutory central auditors themselves will be conducting the audit of not only the head office but also the entire branch setup. Therefore, invariably, they will be only the auditors. In our case, there is no exemption from audit for any of the officers. We have 2 systems. One is central statutory auditor. Another is the branch auditors, where statutory central auditors are unable to take up the audit of any office or the branches. We will allocate it to the qualified chartered accountant in practice only to such branch audit. Therefore, in their report, they have to mention how many the branches they have audited and what is the percentage coverage of the such branches audited by themselves. That is the only, as a matter of abundant caution, they are mentioning. They have not audited all the branches. Rather, they have covered so many branches covering a percentage of the advances, whatever is mentioned there.
So this matter is by the statutory auditor, not the branch auditor, I believe, right?
Yeah. Other branches are audited by the statutory branch auditors.
But you want to say that all the branches have been done audited by the branch auditor thoroughly?
Yeah, see, there the procedure is branch auditors also we have to appoint from the central, that is from the central office, and taking those names from the RBI's approved list. That is correct. First requirement. Second one is whatever the audit observations that these branch auditors have, share with the central auditors by means of an MOC.
Yes. Okay.
Memorandum of changes. Those MOCs are thoroughly scrutinized, if any, by the central auditor, then they certify it.
Okay.
To have a crystal clear, how many of the branches are this is audited by the central auditors. In our bank, this is the tradition. Going forward, of course, we are now discussing about the centralized audit process. So for that, now I am in the process of implementing document management system, DMS and all. Most probably during this year or from next year onwards, we should be able to have that centralized auditing system.
Okay. And so my next question is pertaining to the 12 number in the notes to the account. I know quite a few participants have already asked you the same question regarding that fraud, which you have the 190 odd crore rupees which you would reverse. So this is it, or you expect any further addition to the provision apart from these going forward?
Additional fraud, you are telling about
any other, I would say any other jerks or any other addition to these kind of cases?
As of now, whatever that we had come across, it is already considered and disclosed as fraud.
And this 189 crores would cover the entire 252 crores, right? Like everything will be done.
Correct.
Okay, so there is nothing more what at the moment you are viewing in the near future.
We cannot just hold it like that.
My main question was, do you expect anything to be added new to these kind of one-offs, basically, something like a new fraud coming in, like any kind of a jerk, I would say?
As of now, we have not come across with any such early warning signals.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay. Thank you so much and best of luck. And it was a good interview today morning, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, so nice of you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Jai Mundra from BNK Securities. Please go.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, I have a couple of questions.
Sir, your voice is cracking.
One second.
Could you please come nearer to your phone?
Yes, sir. So I have a couple of questions.
Yeah. Your good name?
First, if you can highlight that we have given moratorium to NBFC. Some of them are AA rated and one is A rated. If you can provide the sector of these moratorium and NBFC which have taken moratorium.
Yeah. Okay. Sector-wise, I have not said. Rating-wise, I have mentioned there.
No, only for NBFC.
You want it sector-wise?
No. So I only want the NBFC which have taken moratorium. Which sector are they from?
Okay.
Are they MFI?
NBFC, the moratorium sector-wise. Do we have right now? Because in the NBFC moratorium, yeah, we will note down. Please send an email. We will share it. That must be available. Sir, please send an email. We will share that.
Sure, sir. And second thing, sir, is slide 20.
1 minute. I think right now I have this sector. One second. Let me. So that we can give. One is housing finance sector. Another one also housing finance. Another one also housing finance. So 3 are from housing finance sector, mainly from housing finance sector. Okay, rest is any other area? Housing. 303,000. Yeah, sir, major portion is from housing finance. Housing, others is commercial. Yeah, others is commercial. Commercial finance. Okay? Right.
Yeah. And sir, slide 20. Right now.
Presentation.
Of the presentation.
Okay. Slide number 11. Yeah, please.
Sir, if I look at the, let's say, bottom last 3 rows, B, C, and D, right? Rated B and C and D.
Yeah.
In D category, you have 1,400 crores of exposure, of which, let's say, half of them or 60% of them have done NPA. What is the, your view on the residual 500, 600 crores and same in the B category, 900 crores? So do you think they will definitely, they are very, very weak and in your internal assessment also?
Yeah, see, there I think you might have noticed that 18 accounts have already turned to NPA and it is 872 crores. And another 9 borrowers, they have taken the moratorium. That is around amounting to 537 crores. So the rest of the accounts, even including the moratorium availed accounts, they are not even coming under SMA2. That is also disclosed there.
Correct.
So, and this has been the tradition, these accounts. So there, one is in the infrastructure, second one is the internal trading, third one is the educational institute, another one is energy generation. So like that, they have been with us for quite a long period. Even though their rating is, external rating is D, our internal rating is somewhere in between KB3 and KB4. So from another point of view, yes, external rating is not satisfactory, but these are generally high yielding advances. And the track record has also been keen. and they have also not yet reported any given points of time either to the CRILC or something like that. So we are fully satisfied with the performance and conduct of these accounts.
And sir, where is the coffee plantation exposure now? Is that NPA or this is not NPA yet?
Which coffee plantation?
So I think we had an exposure to CCD.
Yeah. Okay. That is Coffee Day Global. We had total sanctioned limit of 183 crores, and that was brought down to 153 crores. And now it is further brought down to 130 crores, and it is performing and up to date. It is serviced. And for that we have a security of around 155 crores.
Okay. So as of now, have they taken moratorium and hence they are standard, or
they have not taken moratorium?
Okay. So they are in very reasonably good shape.
Standard and regular.
And sir, then another question is, sir, if you can highlight that, some of the banks have also declared SMA 0 plus 1 plus 2 accounts as of Feb end.
Okay.
So I think we declare SMA 2, but it also becomes imperative for, let's say, coming quarters because we have moratorium. So I think the key number to track is the SMA 0 plus 1 plus 2 number as of Feb end or March end.
No. Yeah, internally we have that system, but too many data may also create some problem because there will not be any consistency. But for internal improvement of the portfolio, we are keenly tracking these numbers.
And sir, now apart from this 10% provisioning that we have done, we have not provided anything on contingent basis, right?
Contingent basis, no, not yet. That whatever that RBI stipulation of 10%, which was of course for the current quarter, it was provision requirement was 5, we made full 10%.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Sagar Shah from Alphaline Wealth Advisors. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hope you're doing well.
Yes, sir.
So
same from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first question was regarding our asset quality. Actually, my question was very related to the last participant. I had calculated your external rating exposure actually below BB book that came around 1392 crores actually. The B, C and D category, external rating. And you have said that you're fairly comfortable on that book actually. So that gets sorted.
Very comfortable because that is what I said. Yeah. They are dealing with us for quite a long time and we have not taken any fresh exposure either under the D, C, B, double B. This policy doesn't permit. But here what happens if the existing high-rated accounts downgrade to this category, then only they get reflected there. Otherwise, on our own, we are not taking any exposure under these categories, fresh exposures. Yes.
Okay. On that note, sir, another question was regarding to our employee cost. As you said that we had a one-off in regards to superannuation benefit that we had declared in this quarter, and that's why our employee cost rose to almost 370 crores as compared to 203 crores a year ago. So is this kind of this will be the new normal cost for Karnataka Bank going ahead, or is it a one-off in this actually?
No. Normally what happens, according to the AS 15 accounting standard and also guidelines issued by the IBA in this regard, the pension funding will be depend upon the yield as on the reporting date on the maturity of the employees, retirement age of the employees. So normally what happens, if the yield falls, then the provision will increase for the employees. Pension funding will increase. So it has become a very, very volatile nowadays because if next year if the yield goes up, again there will be releases from this particular funding.
Okay.
So it is based upon the accounting standard and the guidelines issued by the IBA.
Okay. So as in for this quarter, the employees cost will be the same as
for the
for
June quarter compared to today's yield versus the March yield, it is almost at the same level. So June there may not be any hit.
Oh, it will be sequentially it will be the same.
Yeah. Every quarter we'll obtain the actuarial report. Based upon that, the provisioning will be made. But we don't feel that any hit will be in the first quarter. We don't know about the future.
Okay. On that regard, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my second question, sir, was regarding to our return ratios, as our MD sir said on the last quarter's con call that our advances would be our focus would be on advancing to the especially the MSME side.
Yes.
At least for the high yielding advances, so that our at least the yield on advances goes up and our NII comes in double digits, and as is rightly reflected in this quarter actually. So going ahead, do we expect at least our ROE and our ROA to at least get better as compared to the FY20 levels? Because currently they are at very at lower levels as compared to it should be, so that we at least can gain on the valuation front actually.
Yeah, this should be too early for us to comment on that, because that is why I think you will fully agree with me that we are in an era of uncertainty. So my first focus is to safeguard or protect the bottom line and also have some decent growth. I think when we come out with the first quarter.
Hello.
Janet?
Hello.
Participants, please stay online. We are just trying to reconnect the chairperson back to the conference, the speakers back to the call. Requesting you all to please stay connected. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding the line. We have the management reconnected. Also, we have the question from the line of Mr. Sagar Shah. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, we are back.
Yeah. So my question was that only, sir, that at least not in FY21, but going ahead, can we expect some decent improvement in our actually return ratios actually?
Definitely. That will be our endeavor. But we will come out with the correct number once we are through with the first or the second quarter result. But one thing, as I have briefly mentioned in my opening remarks, we are taking lot many cost cutting measures, both in the capital cost as well as in the revenue cost. So that is why it has already reflected during the fourth quarter itself. Whereas our other expenses, it has come down by, there is a degrowth to an extent of 14.81%. We will try to repeat that during the ensuing quarters. Wherever it is possible, we will definitely cut short that. And wherever only inevitable expenses that we have to incur, we will definitely incur that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Yashwant Tilpeswani, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Yashwant here.
Hi, Yashwant.
Hi, sir. Nice to thank you for the opportunity given. So I have seen that right in the opening remarks you have mentioned that over the period of time, Karnataka Bank has been announcing Q4 results in the month of mid-May.
Yeah.
So as an investor community, and I have researched why investors do not have trust in betting or otherwise investing in Karnataka Bank. So one of the reasons which I felt was Q4 results has been deferred for multiple reasons which you have mentioned. So my question is, So as a management, so now considering the crisis that we are going through, so I'm pretty sure that in the month of June, you could have foreseen that okay, we will not be able to publish the results by mid of May. So my question is, why is that not being communicated to the exchange and the investors? So I mean, I'll tell the reason also. This has created the air for the speculators to speculate that Karnataka Bank has so many things, internal problems, which is why it is not being able to publish the results. So my only question is, so when you can foresee that there is a crisis, why is this not being communicated in early?
Yashwant, I think you are closely watching what is happening in the banking sector. So this year, how many banks have so far declared the result?
I completely agree, sir. My question is, I
think in our peer group, we are the second to come out with the result after the Federal Bank. So you can compare the peer group, and that is why I said consistently we have been doing that. And unless we have this practice of 100% auditing of the branches also. That is why I have made it very clear. That is the reason. So these are the facts. I think hereafter you will be able to bat for us in the market. We'll see if there is any further need is there for improved investors communication. We will definitely adopt those best practices.
It is the eye opener how the inferences are drawn.
Yeah.
Even though everybody is aware that practically it is not possible for anybody. Lockdown areas are there, seal down areas are there. Branches were actually allowed to offer only the limited services. So we thought that it is well understood in the market that this time there may be delay. Anyhow, this point is well taken. Regulatory, yes, we have been communicating the board meeting dates well in advance. If there is any kind of this kind of a situation going forward, we will keep the investors also well informed.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Parthiv from NVS. Please go on.
Yeah, sir. Thanks for taking my questions again. I just wanted to know the cost of funds for the bank.
Cost of fund is around 1 minute. Do you have that number?
Hello?
Yeah. 1 second. Cost of fund is there. Somewhere around 7%.
Around 7%?
Yeah, it's 7.62. Yeah.
7.62, yes. Okay, 7.62. Again, sir, any idea?
Which one?
Against last year, FY19 would be?
7.29. And
okay, so that's slightly increased.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you just replied to me on my auditor, sometime back on my remarks for the, on the auditor, the matter 6 in the auditor's note. So just as an investor and as an investor of a bank, I just want to do, it's a humble request because see, this gives a bit of a misconception or a misinformation that the branches have not been audited at all. Okay.
No, we will phrase it correctly.
Yeah, because you need to phrase it because see, eventually these kind of information when it goes to an online portal, not just the BSE or your website, but there are n number of online pages and groups which these kind of information go. It affects, as an investor, it affects our valuation, right?
Yeah, we too didn't realize.
Yeah, so because you need to clearly mention, because at the end of the day, a statutory auditor has to rely on a branch auditor, before giving out the financials. Irrespective, you give out in May or you give out in June, but they have to rely on the branch auditor at the end of the day, because it's practically impossible for a person or a company to run around the entire nation.
I am also on the same page. We will again bring it to the notice of the center.
And if possible, please, sir, as a humble request, please just put it across a BSE with the revised, language or a revised note to the investor. Just upload a small one-pager kind of a thing. It will help a lot, basically.
Your suggestion is well taken. I will take it up with the central statutory auditor.
Yeah, whatever language as per the auditing committee they have to use it, they will use it, of course. And that's their decision to do it. But just as an investor, it gives a very wrong impression, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference back to Mr. Alok Shah for his closing comments. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Janice. On behalf of Monarch Network, we thank you all for joining on this call. Thank you, Mahabaleshwara sir, Balachander sir, and Muralidhar sir, and all of the senior management team for taking out your time. Thank you and have a great evening.
Alok, thank you.
Yes, sir, please.
And thanks to all the participants who have taken not only keen interest, I know that they have taken a lot of trouble also. Many of them might have joined from their respective houses also. Most important thing is we are all passing through the difficult days of COVID-19. So I would pray God and also wish all of you